Hey everybody, good morning. Wanted to come out here and have a coffee. It's too beautiful not to before it gets too darn hot. And I wanted to talk to you about something that happened yesterday that everybody should be paying attention to, because it was a warning shot across the bow and not a lot of people have noticed it. And it's something that came out of the White House in response to a bill that had 104 co-sponsors in the House looking to force voters to prove they're American at this upcoming election in November. Before I jump into this, I want to thank the sponsor of the video. That's the Sonoran Desert Institute. If you want to have a career in the firearms industry, SDI is a college that is focused on just that. You can get degrees or certificates in courses like gunsmithing, armorers courses, and much, much more. Check them out, sdi.edu/GNG. There'll be links down below. And they also have ways to help with funds. So check them out. SDI has been a huge sponsor of this channel for a long time. They really, really care about what we do here, and I'm glad to have them. Also, if you didn't see the announcements I've done, Blackout Coffee, we're running a thing through July where one lucky winner is going to win $1,776. All you got to do is head over to the website, blackoutcoffee.com/GNG, lower left-hand corner, hit the giveaway bubble, and it'll explain it there. And looking forward to announce the winner. I think we're going to do it the first week of August so that everybody gets the full month of July. So, oddly enough, I'm drinking 1776. So if you didn't see this, let me show you first the bill. I'll give you a summary of the bill. It's HR 8281, and this is what it's looking to do. It's called the Safeguard American Voter Eligibility Act, or the SAVE Act. The bill would require individuals to provide documentary proof of U.S. citizenship in order to register to vote in federal elections. Specifically, the bill prohibits states from accepting and processing an application to register to vote in a federal election unless the applicant presents documentary proof of U.S. citizenship. Further, the bill, 1, prohibits states from registering an individual to vote in a federal election unless, at the time the individual applies to register to vote, the individual provides documentary proof of U.S. citizenship, and 2, requires states to establish an alternative process under which an applicant may submit other evidence to demonstrate U.S. citizenship. Each state must take affirmative steps on an ongoing basis to ensure that only U.S. citizens are registered to vote, which shall include establishing a program to identify individuals who are not U.S. citizens using information supplied by specified sources. Additionally, the bill requires states to remove non-citizens from their official lists of eligible voters. The bill allows for a private right of action against an election official who registers an applicant to vote in a federal election who fails to present documentary proof of U.S. citizenship. The bill also establishes criminal penalties for registering an applicant to vote in a federal election who fails to present documentary proof of U.S. citizenship. The Election Assistance Commission must, within 10 days, adopt and transmit guidance for implementing the bill's requirements to chief state election officials. So the bill is looking to help with a big problem we know we've had. And you got to say certain things certain ways here if you still want to remain on the platform. But they know right now that there's such a landslide, the White House does, the Democrat Party, that there's such a shift going against the presumptive nominee to their party for the presidential election, that they got to do everything they can to help, which is why I say everybody should register to vote. Everybody should vote. We need to make it so damn hard for them to cheat, like many of us think might have happened before. We need to make it so darn impossible for them to do it that they really can't. Even if they do, they're going to lose. And that, I'll tell you a story about that here in a minute, but let me show you first what the White House said. And I'll remind you that there are almost 10 million gun owners that are not registered to vote. That is a huge problem. And I'll pin a video above here. It's going to be, I don't know what side it's going to be on. I'll pin a video showing you from each state how many people are not registered to vote that are gun owners. And those are just the ones we know about. So here's what the White House put out yesterday. Statement of Administration Policy regarding H.R. 8281, the Safeguard American Voter Eligibility Act. And it was submitted by Chip Roy of Texas and 104 co-sponsors. It says the administration strongly opposes H.R. 8281, the Safeguard American Voter Eligibility Act. It is already illegal for non-citizens to vote in federal elections. It is a federal crime punishable by prison and fines. The alleged justification for this bill is based on easily disproven falsehoods. Additionally, making a false claim of citizenship or unlawful voting in an election is punishable by removal from the United States and a permanent bar to admission. States already have effective safeguards in place to verify voters' eligibility and maintain the accuracy of voter rolls. This bill would do nothing to safeguard our elections, but it would make it much harder for all eligible Americans to register to vote and increase the risk that eligible voters are purged from the voter rolls. The evidence is clear that the current laws to prevent non-citizens voting are working as intended. It is extraordinarily rare for non-citizens to break the law by voting in federal elections. The president has been clear. He will continue fighting to protect Americans' sacred right to vote in free, fair, and secure elections, including by calling on Congress to pass the John R. Lewis Voting Rights Advancement Act and the Freedom to Vote Act. If House Republicans really want to do something about securing the border and fixing our broken immigration system, they should vote on the border deal that the president negotiated with a bipartisan group of senators. This would provide immigration officials the resources they need to do their jobs and be the toughest and fairest set of reforms to secure the border that we have seen in decades. Well, first off, if the president was serious about it, he would push the bill that already has been approved, which actually wouldn't open the floodgates like the bill he talked about, the border bill. So, a couple things to unpack here. They say that it's already illegal to vote in a federal election if you're not an American, but that's true. However, every attempt that states have had or pushed to prove that some people who voted shouldn't have has been rebuked. They've been mocked, and if you pay attention to the news, every effort that could possibly be made to stop it has been made. This bill, I think, moving to Tennessee, I was able to vote this past year, on the state elections, and they asked for a state ID, a license, and it made me smile, because Massachusetts, they don't ask you, they don't care. Hey, do you have blood pumping through your veins? Yeah, come on and vote. And it was refreshing. And it made me really think about this bill when Chip Roy submitted it 2 months ago, that it's something we might need. Like I told you, I'll give you a quick story. When I was still in the police world, during the last election, one of my detectives brought to my attention, I was a supervisor, that he had potential evidence of a family, again, let's say, utilizing the mail-in voting system fraudulently. So I was the only ranking official that day working, so I said, investigate it. And if you find wrongdoing and you have evidence of that, charge them. And came out, without giving too much of people's information out, but it was an older woman whose younger son lived there, and he forged her name on a mail-in voter form. So I told my officer to charge them, which we did. And the state chose not to, the district attorney's office chose not to prosecute that. And that's not the first time. It's happened a lot, actually. So there are efforts to stop the steal, if you will. And it's rebuked at every corner by mostly liberal officials. So I'm a big fan of what this bill says, because there are ways, you remember when I read you the summary, there are a couple ways that states can still register somebody to vote if they don't have a government-issued ID. The first one, if I read the bill, and I'll pin it below, the first one is to utilize I forget the name of Homeland Security's program, but it's I think it's it's the illegal alien system. Like, you run their name, and if they're an illegal alien and they're not supposed to be here, then they can't register to vote, but then the state has to submit them, and if they are supposed to be deported, then they're supposed to be deported, and we know that the liberal states don't want that. And the second one is verification via the Social Security system. Everybody who's born in America, actually every legal citizen in America has a Social Security number. So they don't have an ID, they give you their Social Security number, you put it into the system, verify they're who they say they are, Bob's your uncle. And if they're lying, they get prosecuted. And finally, the thing that the lefties really don't like is the election officials who are doing the registration. If it turns out that they were registering people who didn't have an ID, and they didn't run through the alien system, and they didn't submit through the Social Security system, then they could be charged individually. And they really don't want that. And that has to make you ask why. We know why. We all know why. Get some training, Valor Ridge. But I just wanted to put that out there, that Congress is actually trying to pass a bill that would help stop the steal. And the White House is saying, oh, no, we don't want that. It's already illegal to vote in a federal election if you're not an American. 10 million of us, guys and gals, 10 million of us can absolutely make a huge difference. I'll never tell you who to vote for, but what I will tell you is, if you're a gun owner, you need to stop voting against the party or the individuals that are looking to take your gun rights at every turn. If you want to know how to register to vote, I'll have a link down below. Vote the number 4, vote4america.org. Get registered. And if you voted last year in the last federal election would be a year and a half ago now. The midterms, if you voted, bring somebody who didn't. If you're the person who only votes every presidential election, fix that, because midterms are just as important as a presidential election. So, off my soapbox, it's getting hot. I'm starting to sweat, and I'm going to finish my coffee. But I want to know what you guys and gals think. This is a heart-to-heart video. This isn't really Second Amendment specific, but it has to do with those of us in the Second Amendment world who are gun owners who just don't care enough to do what our forefathers died to set up. I love y'all. Be safe, stay vigilant, carry a gun to keep you, your friends, your family, your community safe. Get some coffee at Blackout. Check out SDI. Vote4america.org. Take care.